Let's go.
You're listening to Making Data Simple, where we make the world of data effortless, relevant, and yes, even fun.
Hey, podcast listeners, Al Martin here. Once again, I'm going to jump in with our latest guest, which is Ryan Debenham, the CEO of GRIN, the world's first and leading creator management platform. We'll challenge him all this stuff as we go so we can have a fun conversation. I know his history involves being a software engineer, leading data analytics and AI at Qualtrics. He also was the CTO for Route, $100 million in just 4 years. And he joined GRIN as the CTO overseeing product and engineering, later being promoted to president, then CEO. But more importantly, what I really find interesting, former amateur professional snowboarder, avid outdoor enthusiast, likes to go biking, skiing. I want to take all of the thunder here because I want to hear this from him. And father of four, if that's not enough. You have a passion for personal growth, mindfulness, that comes with the father of four, I presume. And he's got two guitars that you guys can't see in back of him. So do you play guitar then?
I do. I wish I had time to play more, but guitar and piano. I grew up playing
piano. That's
playing
fantastic.
Yeah.
I play guitar badly. I'm sure you play much, much better than me, but that's interesting. Do you find time like on a regular basis?
I wish I could tell you I did. At this point, I play the piano better. So you actually might play the guitar as good as I do. I like to play the guitar. I actually like to sing. My wife would tell you that that's how I won her over. So,
wow.
Sitting around the campfire, playing, singing, that's kind of my guitar background. But if I'm going to just go play for fun, which I do frequently, I play the piano.
Favorite campfire song? I need a good campfire song for. What's your go-to, man? What won your wife over? That would help.
So good question. Tom Petty, like playing, a mix of Tom Petty. Honestly, I like to play like Hallelujah and even something like Elvis Presley.
Let's take a step back. I want you to introduce yourself and give us the good stuff.
Honestly, I'd say that the first thing I ever took very seriously was playing the piano. Ended up training with a professor at the local university here, touring Europe, playing classical piano. Kind of thought for a little bit being a classical pianist was like the future for me. I'd say as I kind of got into my teenage years, was playing probably 3 to 4 hours a day.
Wow, that's serious. We're talking serious stuff.
It was serious. Yeah, it was very serious. Got some coaching from my dad. He said, maybe you should expand your horizons. Classical pianist might not be like the best long-term career. I live in Utah, which is also a big part of my identity. I love living in Utah. I had grown up skiing and snowboarding around this time was really taking off. And I got into it and absolutely loved it, ended up building a very close group of friends. And that was the next thing I took very serious in my life. And 3 or 4 years into snowboarding, started to attract sponsors and ended up, as you mentioned, becoming an amateur professional, snowboarding for Rossignol and DC Schuco, doing a lot of competing and filming videos. We had a local crew here in Salt Lake City that filmed videos and premiered them every year. And so then I was going to be a professional snowboarder. That was like the next thing in my list. And again, got some great counseling from my dad.
Boy, dad keeps getting in the way. It depends which way you look at it.
Well, it does. Maybe I would have been the next Shaun White. Who knows? Dad was an academic. He's like, you really should go to school and get like a career. Just so happens I was probably about 21 years old and was filming for some videos, and I broke my leg right kind of in the peak of my career snowboarding. And it gave me, the rest of that winter season to think about what I really wanted to do. And I decided at that point in time that a career in snowboarding, it should be a hobby, not a career. I should do it for fun and, try to make money other ways. I started studying computer science. Right around this time, the information systems program became a new offering through the local university, University of Utah. And that sounded more interesting to me. It was the mixture of business and software. And so I went that direction. I ended up graduating and wishing I had done computer science because I didn't feel like it was technical enough. So within a couple of years there of doing a little bit of work, I went back and got a master's degree in computer science and also did an MBA. Now dad's happy and I'm happy. And I graduated. I went to work for a company called backcountry.com. At the time, they were also on a mission to be a technology company. And so really interesting company to work at. And I ended up working for a gentleman by the name of Steve Brain. And this is another important figure in my life. Steve left Backcountry and joined a company by the name of Qualtrics. And Steve said, we don't have managers at Qualtrics. We're a small company. You have to come and be a software engineer. And he posed an interesting question to me. He said, if you think that Qualtrics will succeed, and you should do your own research and ask questions and come to the determination of whether you think Qualtrics will succeed. And if you think that you will succeed at Qualtrics, so do you believe in yourself and your ability, then this would be a good opportunity for you. He's like, if you can't answer both of those questions, yes, then it's probably not. Joined Qualtrics and spent the next 5 years there. Unbelievable experience. Qualtrics went from just north of 100 employees to close to 2,500 or 3,000. Ended up selling to SAP for $8 billion. My career went from being an individual contributor to directing a very large investment of their data platform and AI and analytics. And right. I told my boss at the time, if we were actually acquired, I would likely leave Qualtrics and pursue the next thing because being a part of a large integration process and all of that wasn't really my interest. I left maybe a handful of months after and joined a very, very small company in Salt Lake area called Route. It's an e-commerce business that does post-purchase experience, package tracking, shipment, insurance, supporting e-commerce retailers. They offered me the role of CTO to come in and help advise the technology and the executive team on how to grow the business. And the next 4 years at Route, another rocket ship. We took advantage of the boom in e-commerce through COVID, and the company grew to right around 100 million in revenue in 4 years. Absolute rocket ship, really wild experience, and we're valued over $1 billion in those 4 years. So incredible experience there. I took about a 6-month break. My wife is an entrepreneur. She runs a medical clinic here in Utah. She was kind of getting it up and off the ground running. And I spent, 6 months supporting her business and honestly being a customer service representative, a receptionist, and like all things small business.
It's probably a good refreshing change.
It was actually really a fantastic learning experience. It is ruthless running a startup. What I tell people is, if you're going to start a business, you have to be willing to sacrifice about everything, pretty much everything, because the number of things that will come up on any given day are hard to manage. And most businesses fail because people end up quitting. They give up. We ended up deciding mutually that I should get back into tech. The best way to provide for our family. She would keep going. I'd be able to support, financially some of her needs by not bringing a lot of income in the early years. And, she's brought the business to a very healthy, place, stable, kind of allowing her to balance her life. I'd say getting into 23 and 24, we found the balance that we need as a family. But so that brings me to GRIN. So
that brings you to the CEO of GRIN. So tell me about, let's go there. I have some more questions on other stuff, but let's go into the CEO of GRIN. First of all, what's in a name? GRIN. We just smiling all the time? What is GRIN?
Yeah, GRIN. Honestly, I can't tell you. I don't have the details of exactly how they ended up deciding that GRIN would be the brand name there, but to me, everything internally becomes, ends up starting with GRIN. So we use that name a lot internally as a way to, just to kind of build on and have fun with the brand name.
All right. So I know marketing, but look, what does GRIN do? What's the differentiator? What part of the industry is it tackling that nobody is in today?
So I love the question, and I learned actually after joining Grin how much I actually have a personal connection to what we do. Our CEO and founder, our former CEO, co-founder, Brandon, got his roots working at Red Bull, and in like 2010, 2011 timeframe, Brandon was in the Red Bull marketing group. Red Bull really like had this marketing strategy around word of mouth, and it is led to this day Red Bull being more of a marketing company than anything else,
Hmm.
and they had phenomenal success. But Brandon was involved in like the athletic side of it and the sponsorships and kind of supporting some of that, organic early forms of influence back at that time. Red Bull used to just pop out to the beach, hand people a Red Bull, and to surfers, and a lot of it started to spread through these means. But okay, it was a very strategic effort on their side. So Brandon left Red Bull thinking, hey, there's something here that we can tap into to support other brands accomplishing something like this idea of these influential people. It's
So it
effective.
was modeled after Red Bull and the success that Red Bull had really in the marketing space.
Yeah, it's where the ideas of kind of Grin's early history come from. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where I found personal attachment to the vision was my own time as an amateur professional athlete. Thinking about that, I was an influencer. That's why people give me product. That's why I was sponsored. That's why, brands had an interest in me working with them, is because I influenced other people to buy their product based on the things that I would do.
What does it mean by
Uh,
amateur professional, by the way? When I think amateur, I think not taking money,
yeah,
taking
taking
product.
product, getting like reimbursed on like expenses to go travel and
I
compete
see.
and film, and I did not take a paycheck from these companies, but that was the next progression for me, and that's about the time where I popped out of it.
So what does
So
GRIN do then? What do they do that's so maybe similar to Red Bull but different? I mean,
definitely different. So Grin is a platform. In fact, I would say step back just a little bit. We believe very strongly that marketing is evolving, it's modernizing, and it is moving into a direction where influencers and creators will be at the center of it.
hmm.
And the reason for that is because there is the opportunity through creators to have this more authentic and organic kind of word to mouth type benefit. It's just very difficult. And you saw influencers start to like really become something interesting in like 2017, 2018 were the roots of it. And that's when Grin kind of as a business to support influencer marketing in what we call the creator management space. 2017 is really when Grin became Grin.
So is
That
that
it
the
was
net of it? If I was to net it out, it would be influencer marketing.
helping brands do influencer marketing is like the net of it. We are a technology platform that helps brands do influencer marketing. Now, there's an important part there that I would say is like Grin 2024 and before, and Grin 2025 and beyond, that plays a big role here, because in 2020, 2021, Grin had absolutely phenomenal success. So you asked that question, what allows us to say we're the leading platform, that we were the first, all that sort of
Hmm.
stuff? Well, Grin really was a pioneer in this category. And not to say that there were a couple of early businesses back in that time frame, 2017, 2018, that recognized that this was a growing industry and that people doing this needed help. And so they recognized that problem. They built a platform, and Grin really innovated in the early days. Grin connected a platform into the e-commerce, platforms like Shopify and WooCommerce and Magento. Grin figured out how to really automate a lot of the work that it takes to allow creators and influencers to be gifted products and to send, and track all of that stuff, to for brands to be able to kind of model campaigns and track progress and pay creators. All of the work that's involved in facilitating that operation, Grin built software to make it more efficient and simple and easy to manage. And so when this was taking off in especially through like the pandemic timeframe as e-commerce was really spiking, GRIN shipped up. And, GRIN raised a Series A in 2021 and a Series B in 2022. And, the company's valuation rose nearly to $1 billion in a handful of years.
I want to get into the tech of it all because I am interested in the tech for obvious reasons. But influencer marketing, that implies two different pieces. So in my mind, intuitively, what I would say is, first of all, you got to figure out the marketing campaign. Once you figure out the marketing campaign and then use technology to back that or know how you're going to use technology to back it, you've got to find an influencer that you feel is best associated with that marketing campaign, tie them together, and then you're off to the races, finding, I guess, the right overall platform that the influencer can connect to the audience. I don't know. How does it work?
Really good question. But there's actually different ways to approach influencer marketing. Tying it to a marketing strategy and campaign is one way to do it. There's other forms like affiliate based marketing where influencers kind of go and do their own thing and they use an affiliate code or a discount link or other to kind of drive sales and they're paid on a commission basis. And so there's different ways to think about that. But GRIN has been more focused over the past of helping brands actually find and build partnerships and relationships with creators and influencers, and then execute more of these like structured campaigns. GRIN's early like ICP or ideal customer was brands that were already doing influencer marketing. They'd already developed the expertise in-house to do this, and selling them software to help them do it more efficiently. And so that's where they really had early phenomenal success. Brands already knew what they were doing. They already understood the strategy. They already had success working with influencers. GRIN came in and helped them be much more efficient in like those operations. But as GRIN continued to grow and they took on capital in order to grow, they moved beyond these customers that had a lot of experience doing it and started working with a lot of customers that were more aspirational. We would like to do it. Now, 2024 and 2025, most brands, it's not even that they would like to do it. They know they have to do it. The problem is that the technology that we have, while it's a good tool for efficiency, it does not teach people how to do this. At GRIN, we feel pretty strongly that the market is running into friction. And the friction is that there are now a lot of brands that would like to make influencer more of like a center part of their marketing strategy, but they lack the expertise to do it.
A clarifying question, and then I want to talk about the tech, but when we're talking influencers, are we talking social influencers almost strictly? YouTube influencers, that kind of thing? Is that your primary? Is that 90 to 99% of who you target? Yeah.
It's, we facilitate brands connecting into the major social platforms. And so it's YouTube, it's TikTok, it's Instagram. That's like primarily where companies have their investments made today. Ultimately, our technology makes it simple to work with these major ones that have been like the most popular. But we are evolving to be more than a technology play, because what we've noticed is that brands need more than technology to do this.
Right.
And so we've really expanded. Technology is one of 4 pillars for us. Community and education are 2 other pillars, and data is a 4th pillar.
So I think I got the concept, but what's the secret sauce behind the technology? Let's go there.
So you can think about the technology as really facilitating the major activities that have to happen in order for a brand to be able to execute something like this, kind of depending on which direction they're going to go. If it's affiliate marketing, meaning that the influencer is out and driving people to like click on a link or use a particular code. Oftentimes, depending on the brand's strength, these people are already out and posting about their favorite brands. And so part of the initial support there is just finding these people. And so doing some general social listening. How can we find the people that are already out there that have, an audience that are already using our products? Because if we can find somebody that loves our product before we offer them something, then it's more authentic. It's more, they love it before they get paid, and therefore it's a more authentic, kind of
That's what I
story that they
worry
can
about,
tell.
honestly, is
Yeah,
the authenticity. Because
absolutely.
my daughter, by example, I don't know how she does it. She's kind of an influencer in her own right, small potatoes, but she gets paid to do evaluations and different things like that on different products. It's hard to know what's real, what's not. I mean, that's me talking. She would say, I give an honest review, but that's fine. I can't
Yeah,
believe everybody is. So
yeah.
the authentic, the fake news and everything else like that is what I worry about. Back to the tech. Does the tech help with that?
So the tech doesn't help with, ultimately, let's say we're a brand, we find somebody either by like listening to, a social feed or using some searching tools to kind of go and discover, influencers through one of the platforms. We can help them find them, and we can facilitate interacting with them. We don't support the actual creation of content. And so if an influencer is creating a product review, or they are kind of doing a shout out of like a product that they love or something like that, we don't get involved there. And this is where, I think brands can go sideways a bit, especially in
Mhm.
the early days, if they don't understand the like core methodologies of how to do something like this. In fact, I know personal brands. In fact, even my wife, who has done a little bit of work with influencers, has personally experienced these things go sideways, where it's like, hey, let's try working with an influencer. And whether you are gifting them product that has a real cost to it, paying them, or paying them dollars, if you don't do it right, meaning like if the strategy isn't correct, you may get nothing. You may get no return on investment, and many of them do they get nothing from it.
My spidey sense says that based on your history, you must have been quite the influencer yourself at one point in time.
I didn't even notice it at first, but when as I got into leading product and technology here and started spending more time with our founder and kind of getting into what drove him to even build this business, I realized how my own personal history has very strong roots in what we're doing. And I went from like GRIN being a company that I was excited about to GRIN being a company that I feel deeply passionate about, because I really do believe in the power of influence and like word of mouth. And like
Mm-hmm.
as a consumer, as somebody that has been an influencer, knowing how important that really is for a brand to reach the right people, develop relationships and like trust and long-term customer advocates, we can be a company that helps facilitate the modernization of marketing.
I'm still not clear on the tech. So
Yeah.
if you could dive into the tech, I'd like to understand how this all fits together.
Couple parts of it. Part one is bringing data into our platform to help people find creators, build relationships, and track like content that gets posted. And so that's pulling social data from major platforms into GRIN and facilitating discovery and like tracking of content. Data two is connecting to the e-commerce platform, and that's tracking conversions. So if somebody uses a particular discount code or a link, and the influencer drives a sell, actually being able to pull that back and show that that conversion happened, so you can start to measure return on investment. Now, the data that is GRINs, the data that comes from this is transactional data. So what I've described to you so far is data that we're pulling in from other platforms to get this going. The data that I'm really excited about is GRIN's data, which is transactional data, which is
Mm-hmm.
this brand worked with this particular influencer, and this was the result. They drove these sort of impressions, they drove these sort of conversions, and being able to look at that from a bird's eye view into like particular demographics, into particular industries, being able to look at like how the market is trending from a compensation standpoint of creators. And ultimately my goal, and this is me being a data guy as well, my goal is that by using that transactional data, that we can create a future where the insights that we're able to give to brands into who they partner with and how they execute their campaigns will be so valuable that it would be crazy not to work with GRIN and do influencer marketing.
So then what's your pitch? What's your 2-minute pitch that would make them go to GRIN?
Depends on if I'm pitching you in 2024 or 2025. My pitch in 2025 is different. My pitch is that GRIN is approaching the problem different. And just a week ago on Monday, on February 3rd, we launched what we call GRIN Community and GRIN University. And this is this idea that we're expanding beyond tech. And tech becomes one of 4 core pillars of ours. And I look at the broader market, and everyone really has a tech solution, but that's really where they've left off, and that's not enough. Our customers need more support. They're either going and getting an agency, which is expensive and has its own cons, or they're procuring technology, but then they have to solve all these problems by themselves. And so we're looking at it bigger. We are a technology play, but we're expanding, and we're bringing a sense of community, where we've launched GRIN Community. Right now it's a free addition to all of our current customers, but we're also opening it up to the broader market for free for influencer marketers. The goal is, let's create a dedicated space to bring influencer marketers together so that they can network, collaborate, share ideas, share challenges, and ultimately start to mature the methodology of how this is done forward. And that the idea of that isn't just something that I invented in my head. Our customers want that. They feel isolated, not only in the industry, they don't know a lot, many more folks in their same space, but they feel isolated in their own companies, because many of these users are teams of one. They're not only are they running influencer marketing, but they're running all of the other channels of marketing as well. And the broader company oftentimes lacks a lot of the understanding of how social and influencer marketing even works. So this idea of giving people community is really important.
So is that to say, though, Ryan, that the tech isn't differentiated, but the methodology is?
Our tech is differentiated, and it's differentiated in the fact that we can, if you really get into how we set up campaigns and structure the ability to track the actual work that influencers do and customize that and facilitate interaction with influencers. I could get into nitty gritty details where it's this feature's better, this feature's better. But if I really zoom out and I say, are we doing something in the tech that is fundamentally different and better? I would say that we have, over the last couple of years, the number of things that we've done better has started to become fewer and small, and farther between, because other competitors have caught up. Where we're headed now on the tech side is part one of that. I mentioned that the industry is fragmented. Our customers want a comprehensive solution. They don't have it yet. They're still having to go and get 3 or 4 different tools to solve this. And so that's angle one for us. Let's make sure that we really can be a one-stop shop, that all of the core activities that our customers are looking to do when they run an influencer marketing strategy within their brand, that they can do all of that within GRIN. And quite a few of those early product releases from us that will start to fill that gap are in the process of rolling out right now. Right. They will be rolling out in the first quarter. And then step 2 is a data play. How do we really uniquely differentiate ourselves? Well, we can do that when we can do something nobody else can do. And my strong view in the technology landscape is any feature, especially nowadays with AI supported feature development, any feature that you build can quite quickly be replicated by just about anybody else. Where we have unique differentiation opportunity is when our data allows us to do something different than others can do, because nobody else has our data. And so by taking advantage of our data to facilitate better, just for instance, we can help people pick better creators, because we can look at
so is this data on that's what I was going to ask, just for clarity, is this data on the creators themselves, or?
It's both. It would be data on the creators themselves. So, the type of content they're posting, the platforms they're working on, the engagement rates that they see. So that would be their profile, the audiences that they serve. It would be data about the work that they've done with brands. And so, has this creator worked with other brands? What sort of performance are people seeing when they work with creators of this type working, in industries like this? Is there a difference in performance based on whether creators are gifted or paid? Like there's so many different ways to slice and dice that ultimately, if we can take that data and help our brands make better decisions, and again, I would go about this in two ways. We can create value in two ways. One, if we can either make something take less time, so we automate and we improve the efficiency of doing something. And, I would say there is advantages to GRIN today in that somebody that knows GRIN well can be more efficient working with GRIN than they can be in other platforms based on some of the ways that we've structured campaigns and tracking of content and reporting on that data. But there's more to do. So can we make the process of running an influencer program more efficient? That's one way to create value. The other way is, can we help the brand achieve a better outcome? The outcome is better because we help them make a better decision. We help them find a better creator. We help them structure a better campaign at a better time and evaluate and optimize that campaign quicker and faster than they would have otherwise. So, this creator's working, this creator's not working. Try this, try that. All of these different ways that we can facilitate optimization of a program are ways that, again, that we can increase value. So these are the directions that we're going with the tech. It's the perfect time with everything that we're seeing in the broader space regarding AI advancements and the ability to fairly readily take advantage of technologies that can be, optimized through our data to help make decisions like that.
So where does AI come into play? I think there's two questions here. One is where it comes into play with your specific tech and your marketing approach, and then just overall the future of marketing, the future of AI and marketing.
Being an engineer that has worked on AI in a different time frame, has seen AI investments be successful and some completely flop. I definitely have a strong opinion here, and that opinion is that for us, AI will be much more than marketing lingo. I will not go build technology that is like AI powered just to create buzz around our product. I believe that AI can help in both of the ways that I described from a value creation. I believe AI can make things faster through better automation, and I believe AI can lead to better optimizations and decision making. Those are the areas that we're going to be tapping in, and we already have. We are already using AI in our product in a number of different ways. Particularly on the side of evaluating performance metrics, moving more to using AI to help better decision making, better campaign planning, better creator matching. These are ways that I'm very excited about what's happening right now in the broader industry and how we can tap into. 10 years ago at Qualtrics, when we were building AI, we were developing the models. We were doing unsupervised learning. We were developing new ways to visualize and work with, embeddings and vectors. And we were spending 6 to 12 months just on the science of something to try to bring good text analytics to a product. And unfortunately made some mistakes. Unfortunately, after months and months of work, got to a point where we said that what we just built didn't solve a customer problem very effectively. Now, as I look at AI, it's evolving so fast that the way that we become AI ready is through two mechanisms. One, our data, and two, our APIs. If we have good data models and we have good mechanisms to interact with those data models through APIs, we are quite AI ready. We are ready to integrate with models as they advance, agents as they advance, and the technologies as they advance. I believe 2025 and beyond, the rise of agents will become very important. I believe that where that impacts this particular industry is largely in the automation and driving the time it takes down, so that somebody. I've kind of made the comment before of monkey work. It's like if there is a very repetitive task, and if you asked an influencer marketing expert if it takes their experience to be able to do that task, there are a lot of things that they would say, I do this because it's the only way to do this. I'm managing spreadsheets, I'm managing CRMs, I'm managing all of this stuff, and it is not leveraging my expertise. It's just what you have to do to facilitate the basics of what we're doing. All of that stuff can be automated through agents.
Where do you see the ultimate destination for GRIN?
Right now, I think a variety of different outcomes could happen. I am in no mind right now to be like gobbled up and acquired by some other business.
Okay.
I do think that
That's usually the right answer, by the way, but keep going.
Yeah, I think that this category is going to see some consolidation in the next handful of years. It's really proliferated to a bunch of companies of various sizes. And you're already starting to see moves where larger players are acquiring smaller players, and even like larger players are considering mergers and things like that. That is not where, would we do M&A of a smaller technology? Absolutely. That's something that we would consider. Would we go and be acquired by a larger platform? It's not in our foreseeable future. I believe that there is too much friction in influencer marketing. I believe like legacy styles of marketing will be evolving. I think you will see creators and influencers moving to the center of people's marketing strategies because it is more authentic and it is more powerful. And, I expect GRIN to play a big part of that by helping mature the industry. And as you would say, like cross the chasm, remove the friction from this particular problem and help it become something that every brand is, feels supported and that they can drive, positive outcomes with. And where that takes us into the future, I believe is a big company with high revenue, but we're going to go march and create that future.
I mean, tell me if I understand it correctly, that most of the company is remote. How does that work for you? Does it work well? I mean, there's a big, coming back to the office, return to the office. We call it RTO from all these big companies. So you get more face-to-face, particularly with new green developers. But what's your take?
I love being remote. Absolutely love it. And I very much disagree that in office is necessary to promote creativity and culture and make sure people are working hard. Like that is, I do not agree with that because I can see those things happening without it. So I know that. I think it's a cop-out. I think it's an excuse that you have to be in office for these things to happen. Now, that said, remote comes with its own complexities for sure. I really do. Like it is easier to build a relationship with somebody in person. And so my leadership team, kind of the extended leadership team, we do get together quarterly. And that's been very important for us. That is a good way to build trust. It's a good way to like share creative energy. I would like to extend that to the broader company. That is something that we intend to do in the coming years. So, that's a part of it. But in my mind, I can hire the best talent in the world wherever they are. I can allow that talent to balance their lives as they need to with their own person. Everyone's situation is different. I went through a divorce. There's no way I would have been in a position where I could have been in an office on a fixed schedule. And so I know that people's own personal lives, I would expect that they, balance them the same way that I do, which is that's priority one, and so if I want to attract those people to this company, then we have to allow, these people to have flexibility in their life. And, we happen to exist in a world where we can, there's an argument that gets made of like, well, the factory worker has to go into the factory and the receptionist has to go into it's like, yes, they do, but we don't have to. Like we don't have a factory. Like we work in technology. Why do we limit ourselves on the benefits that come from that out of like principle or other, right? So anyways, that's my opinion there.
Ryan Debenham, CEO of GRIN. Thank you for being here. Look, I greatly appreciate it. Spend some time on the guitar, man. You gotta, yes. you practice mindfulness and balance, right? You got to do a little bit more guitar. And I hope you're getting some snowboarding in as well.
I do get plenty of that. My kids ski race. I'm up in the mountains every single week. So
you're doing the half pipe still?
Yeah, I'll ride the half pipe. I'll still jump. I like to impress my kids. I haven't yet hurt myself where I've decided to go down.
No, that's not good. Yeah, you gotta be careful. But that is amazing. Every time I'm skiing, I haven't been skiing in a while. I mean, when I watch that stuff, I'm like, I always wonder, how do you start? Like I see these guys going off backwards, and then flipping around and stuff. And I'm like, how do they do that the first time is what I want to know.
When you're 8 years old, you bounce. So my 8-year-olds go off jumps backwards and land on their face and just get back up and keep going. So part of it is like having rubber bones and being a child, but these days also, the athletes that are out there and really pushing the limit, which is unbelievable what they're doing today. The like training opportunities and facilities today are wildly different than they were 10 years ago. And, the opportunity that they have to go and practice jumping into foam pits and like, it's that there's a lot of ways that athletes can go and practice today that weren't around 10 years ago, 15, 20 years. And so it's incredible to see the sports evolving.
Totally amazing. Hey, good luck to you. I appreciate you spending some time with us, sharing your expertise.
Thank you. Such a pleasure. Bye.
Pleasure. Hey, podcast listeners, thank you for listening. Hit us on almartintalksdata@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you on the podcast. See you all. Bye-bye.